In an era defined by mentally soft, impotent superstars, there is perhaps no greater ambassador than the legendary Ben Simmons, a man who has found a way to earn more money for doing less than a Kardashian. Well, that makes sense actually. A man who shows up to collect his weekly paychecks wearing a ski mask.
Hey, give me your money.
And it is almost impossible to fathom a larger waste of talent and potential.
Don't talk to me, all right? Knock it off!
The rise and mostly fall of a modern-day NBA superstar began innocently enough. Ben Simmons was drafted with the #1 overall pick by the Philadelphia 76ers in the 2016 NBA Draft.
In the 2016 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Ben Simmons.
And the Sixers, who were just trusting the process, made the obvious selection here. And that isn't just hindsight, like other epic fails perpetrated by the 76ers organization, like when they famously traded up to select Markelle Fultz, passing on Jason Tatum. No, make no mistake, Simmons was the undisputed #1 overall pick in this draft, and it's easy to see why. Simmons had one of the best collegiate freshman seasons we have seen in recent memory, when in his one and only season with the LSU Tigers, Simmons averaged 19 points per game, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on 56% shooting from the field, prompting him to be selected as a consensus first-team All-American. Simmons would also elicit high praise from famed talent evaluator Irvin Magic Johnson, calling him the best all-around player since LeBron James. And Irv has had many spot-on assessments throughout his career as a talent evaluator. But this was actually a pretty apt comparison, as despite producing an astounding box-stuffing stat line, the LSU Tigers significantly underachieved their expectations in his one and only year there.
It's not a failure.
Oh no, it was undeniably a failure. LSU was ranked 21st in the preseason polls heading in that season, yet failed to even make the NCAA tournament. But the important thing is here that they always showed up and gave maximum effort, as they were eliminated by Texas A&M in the SEC tournament by a score of 71-38, and Simmons went down swinging in this game, showing that characteristic heart and indomitable will he would later become known for in the NBA, dropping 10 points on 4 for 11 from the field. This would ultimately end up being Simmons' final game with LSU, thus concluding the epic collegiate career of the next LeBron James. And coincidentally enough, Simmons would sign with Clutch Sports to represent him, which is famously owned by LeBron James' lapdog Rich Paul. You know, that guy.
That one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
And it was off to bigger and better things in the NBA for Simmons, who would actually go on to light it up in his first year, averaging 16 points per game, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists on 55% shooting from the field, while being named Rookie of the Year. Of course, none of that happened until his second NBA season, since he ended up missing his entire first year with a preseason foot injury, which was originally diagnosed as a 3-month recovery timeline. Man, what a warrior. Simmons, though, would flash brilliance throughout his first 4 seasons in the NBA when he could actually be bothered to play, going on to make 3 consecutive All-Star teams after his Rookie of the Year second season. And in 2020, Simmons was selected as a member of the All-NBA third team. He would also make back-to-back first-team All-NBA defensive teams in consecutive seasons in 2020 and 2021, prompting Philadelphia to sign him to a 5-year, $170 million extension. Oh, and the stellar decision to choose to go with a combination of Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris over this guy.
Tobias Harris over me?
In yet another move by the Sixers organization that would go hilariously wrong, blowing up in their faces like an exploding cigar. The heel turn here for Simmons, though, in what was otherwise a promising start to his young career, was the 76ers' shocking loss in the 2021 Eastern Conference semifinals, a series they were substantially favored in. Simmons would average just 10 points for the series, and in Game 7 scored only 5 points on just 4 shots, as he famously and inexplicably passed up this open dunk in the late stages of the fourth quarter. Following the game, Simmons would draw sharp criticism from not only superstar teammate Joel Embiid, but also head coach Doc Rivers.
Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
Ouch. In a stunning response to the criticism, Simmons would demand a trade that summer, despite having 4 years remaining on his 5-year, $170 million deal. The Sixers would refuse and Simmons would sit out, before ultimately citing mental health reasons for his absence. Eventually, the Sixers would acquiesce to the demands of arguably the softest and most pathetic athlete in all of sports history, in a deal that would send James Harden to Philadelphia. Another winning move by the Sixers organization. But hey, at least they were rid of this guy. But Ben Simmons would come into his tenure with the Brooklyn Nets with a fire lit under him, looking to prove everyone wrong. Of course he didn't. In his 2 years with the Nets thus far, Simmons has played just 42 total games while posting career lows in points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, and free throw percentage, dropping a stat line of 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. This guy is making $35 million per year, by the way. But Simmons wanted us all to know he is getting ready this offseason, taking to his social media to post this recent picture of himself. Ben Simmons might have just made an impossible to imagine 5 total three-point shots in his entire NBA career, while his free throw percentage has plummeted to 44% in his most recent season. But it's good to know that he can still break out the baby oil to lather up for an IG thirst-trapping photo shoot instead of working on any actual ball skills in the offseason. Meanwhile, the Nets still owe this guy $77 million over the next 2 seasons. And as for Simmons, who is still only 26 years old, he seems to have already hit rock bottom. But it will be fascinating to see just how much lower he can actually go.